Hello, and welcome to the first installment in a series of PowerPoints that I have called Azira's Guide. It's just a bunch of information that I've collected, especially for little specific things about a variety of things that I've learned in living in a rural area and trying to save money. This one specifically is about foraging, although not all of them really have to do with saving money. This one specifically does, because I started foraging because I was broke and I wanted to extend some food supplies without going shopping, also because I don't like talking to people. So if you also don't like talking to people and happen to live in an area where you have a lot of plants near you, you can do this too. Wow. This is just random notes that I have on things, so do not mind the unprofessionalness of this. Nothing on this channel is trying to be professional, so if you thought it was, I'm sorry that you have been misled. Anyways, so we're gonna start this off by talking about monocots and dicots. This is the only time I'm gonna be going over this. This is not part of any of the other PowerPoints. It's just because this is the first one. But this is important information that you should know, because it's how a lot of foraging books are organized. They're organized into monocots and dicots, and then also by season. So, to start with monocots, these include onions, wild rice, cattails, corn lilies, reeds, and comets lilies. They have narrow leaves with parallel veins, flower parts in threes or multiples of three, meaning if you were to look at their flowers, it would have 3 petals, 6 petals, or 9 petals, maybe 12 petals, but that's kind of pushing it. Most flowers don't have that many petals. And they would have vascular strands that are spread throughout a non-woody stem, meaning they don't fall into a specific pattern. And then 1 seed leaf per seed, which you don't really need to, if you don't know what that means, that's fine. It's just basically how they got the name monocot. It's singular seed leaf per seed. And then you have dicots, which include amaranth, mustard, berries, sunflowers, plums, and cherries, and they have broad leaves with a network of veins and flower parts in 4s or 5s. Their vascular strands are arranged in a ring, not spread out the stem like the monocots, and the stem can either be woody or non-woody, and then they have 2 seed leaves per seed. It's a very intuitive naming system. Then we're going to move on to the spring monocots, how to identify and harvest them. We're only going to be covering 3 of them, but they're 3 of the most useful, so, take this information as you will. We have wild onions, wild garlic, and asparagus. So to start, wild onion. Wild onion is found in dry woodlands, rocky ledges, slopes, ridges, and prairies. It is about 24 inches or 60 centimeters in height. They have reddish-purple bulbs, arching stems, and long leaves that stem from the base of the plant. When the leaves are broken, they give off an onion-like odor. This is important because they do look very similar to certain other flowers that are very poisonous. So when harvesting and you think it's a wild onion, you should, or another plant that is related to a wild onion that is edible, you should break the leaves and smell them to make sure that they are, that they have that oniony smell. If they don't have a smell, you should not pick it. You will get sick. You could even die. These are best used for seasonings, salads, cooking, and pickling. You can harvest the tops before flowers appear, and the bulbs when they are in season. They are in season in spring as well as in fall. Now, wild garlic is related to wild onion. They are found in woodlands, fields, and prairies. They are 23 inches or 58 centimeters in height. They have a round bulb that is usually white, kind of looks like an egg. Their leaves are wide and close to the ground. They also give off an onion-like odor when the leaves are broken. That is how you can tell between wild garlic and wild onion and poisonous wildflowers. Like wild onion, they're best used for seasonings, picklings, cooking, and salads. Harvest and use the whole plant in early spring before flower stalks appear, or you can harvest just the bulbs when they're in season. Once again, it's spring and fall. Just like wild onion, they're very similar plants. They're related. And now we have asparagus, which you may recognize as being sold in stores, which I would like to quickly point something out, because for most foraged plants versus like bought in stores plants, they are different plants. They're related to each other, yes, but they're not the same plant. However, this is not true with asparagus. Asparagus that you will find on the side of the road in a disturbed site is going to be the exact same thing as you would find in the stores. They are the same plant, exactly the same as cultivated asparagus. Like I said, they are found on roadsides and disturbed sites, especially in sandy and well-drained soils. They can grow to be a maximum of 6.3 feet to 6.6 feet in height, about 1 to 2 meters. The stems are upright, often branched, green, and tapered at the top. The leaves alternate between these sort of like scale-like leaves that come up the sides and these lance-shaped leaves that are like around the top that give it that weird texture. You should harvest them when the stalks are young. Basically, if in the wild it looks like cultivated asparagus, that is when you should be harvesting it. You harvest them by slicing off the stalks just below ground level, like you dig them up a little bit and then you cut them, and then you bury them again because they will regrow and then you can harvest them again. Only cut them when they protrude a few inches. I would say 5 inches is a good length to go for. Maybe a little less, maybe 3 to 5 inches is good. And they're best used mostly for cooking, steaming, sauteing. Sorry, I'm tired. Steaming, sauteing, all that, they're great. Don't harvest older stalks when they're thicker, because they can be mildly toxic. They're not gonna kill you, but they will make you, pretty sick. You could get food poisoning. But these grow everywhere, so they're one of the cheapest vegetables, a green vegetable that you can find, and they taste really good with garlic and butter. I would say steam them, then saute them, because then they get all tender. And this isn't a cooking channel. Why am I telling you about cooking? We're not talking about cooking today. Anyways, next is the spring dicots, which I'm going to be talking about wild strawberry, violets, the Canada and pale varieties specifically, and dandelions. So, let's start with wild strawberry. Wild strawberry is found in open woodlands, margins of woodlands, and fields. They have no distinct stem, and their leaves are small, with toothed edges and fuzzy undersides. The flowers have 5 white petals in a yellow center, and the fruit is pretty much identical to a cultivated strawberry, but they're little itty bitty. Imagine a tiny strawberry that a mouse would eat. That's what wild strawberries look like. They're adorable. They're so cute. They are best used for eating, baking, hot and cold drinks, and preserves. Basically anything you could use a strawberry for, you can use wild strawberries for. They have a pretty similar taste. They're not exactly the same, but if they're mixed in with normal strawberries, you can't really taste the difference. Harvest the fruit when it is red in color and soft. This can be in late spring or early summer, and then harvest the leaves for tea in late summer. I know it's not technically spring, and this is supposed to be a spring foraging video, but I'm telling you all of the information about the plant, so cope. Next is Canada and pale violets. These can be found in mixed woodlands, meadows, stream banks, and in rich soils. Both of these violets are white in color with purple veins coming from the base of the leaves, and the Canada variety has a purple back to all of the petals. They are both used in tea, cooking, salads, preserves, and can be eaten raw from the plant. Just like take them right off the plant, eat them up. They're actually pretty good. Just most violets you can eat like right off the plant. Of course, you should like check the variety or whatever, because some of them you can't, but most of them you can, and they're actually pretty good. Harvest any part of the plant when the blossoms are visible and bloomed. Remove blossoms and pick leaves as needed. You should wait until the blossoms are visible to harvest any part of the plant, because their leaves on their own look very similar to poisonous wildflowers. So to be safe, you should only harvest any part of this plant when the flowers are showing, so you can confirm that it is a Canada or pale violet. And finally, we have dandelions. Dandelions grow everywhere. We've all seen them. If you live in America or Canada, at least, you've definitely seen them. These are everywhere. You literally cannot go a mile without seeing them, especially in the spring. They have green stems that can be anywhere between 3 and 16 inches, 8 to 40 centimeters, with long leaves, yellow-orange flowers that come in little bunches. And they are best used in tea, salad, cooking, and fritters. All parts of this plant, and I do mean all parts, are edible, and they do not look like any poisonous plants, so there's no like usual precautions. The only precaution that I would take is you probably should not pick them from like manicured gardens. Like pick them more from like more wild, like unkempt areas, because more manicured areas may have sprayed with some kind of like pesticide and stuff like that. Which, I mean, if they had sprayed with some pesticide, they usually would have like uprooted all the dandelions, because most people don't want dandelions in their yard, which is dumb, because they're like the best flowers. They're not weeds, and I will die on this hill, they are the best. Like, I'm sorry, if every single part of your plant is edible and you don't look like anything poisonous, you can literally deep fry the flowers and they taste amazing. Why wouldn't you be the best plant? Okay, I'm just saying. Like, it's like, they're weeds. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're also, like, super good for you. They could, like, improve your heart health. Like, these are one of the best plants for you, and it's dumb that people, like, don't use them, or that they're not part. I almost turned British there for a second. That they're not part of our, like, cuisine, because, like, they're literally everywhere, and we could be using them instead of just, like, pulling them up and putting them in green waste. Like, the entire plant is edible, bro. Like, what? Anyways, you should harvest them before they go to seed, just because the seeds don't taste great, but, the flowers are edible. You should harvest them before they go to seed, like I said. The roots and leaves can be harvested at any time, and if you want larger roots, you should probably leave them in the ground and wait for them to grow more into like winter or fall to pull them up and cook them. Yeah. They're good to use in a lot of things. Every single part of the plant is edible. You can harvest like tons of them at once, and one of the books, like I said, for fritters you can deep fry the flowers. One of the books that I have, let me go to the next slide, because the next slide has books on it. Which book is it? Edible Wild Plants: A North American Field Guide by Thomas S. Elias and Peter A. Dykeman has a really good recipe for deep frying the flowers. They have like a fritter batter recipe that can be used for a bunch of different plants, And they also have things organized similarly to the way that I have them here, and they have like little maps of where they are generally found. Some of those maps are a little bit out of date because the book was made like 30-40 years ago. So like the maps say that like the violets mentioned or wild garlic or wild onion aren't on the west coast. When they are, I live in the woods on the west coast and we have them, so you know. They also say that about wild strawberries, I believe. Yeah, like they don't show them being in the California area, but they are in the California area. So there are like a few inaccuracies that you should always double check with more modern maps and like resources. But generally, as far as cooking and like harvesting guides go, that one's the best. I have one other of these that I can list in the description as a PDF. But then the other one I think is California Foraging. I don't have a PDF copy of. I only have a physical copy of. So I will not be listing that one, but I will be listing PDF versions of the other two for you to read. So have fun if you use this as an actual guide, which I hope you don't, or if it just kind of gets you interested in foraging. Remember to be careful because a lot of plants look like other plants, and people that I know have gotten food poisoning from like picking and eating stuff that they shouldn't have. However, that was usually when we were kids. I think when we were like in kindergarten or first grade or something, James picked like a bunch of leaves because he thought they were miner's lettuce, and they were not miner's lettuce, and he ate them and he had food poisoning for like a week. I think he had to go to the hospital and get his stomach pumped. Anyways, that's not really like an important anecdote. That's more just me saying that James is dumb, because he is. I know that you're gonna see this, dumbass. But that's not really the point. Just remember to check for what varieties your plants are. If you're going to forage, don't use this as a guide. Use an actual foraging guide and forage safely.